Is Cleveland quietly sitting on the next superstar and pretending it's all part of a process? Think about it. A rookie walks into town with highlight reels that look like movie trailers, calm pocket presence, and a brand that practically prints merchandise on site. And the franchise treats him like a risk instead of an asset. Then a high-profile analyst drops a live TV bomb, and suddenly the whispers in the stands turn into a national conversation. That moment didn't create the tension. It revealed what had been simmering under the surface. A club that seems allergic to making bold decisions and more comfortable managing systems than trusting star talent. Fans see clean throws and preseason flashes and ask a simple question: why is this kid not getting the reps? The team answers with the same recycled coach speak: process, competition, development. And the optics get worse by the hour. Social media stitches together preseason perfection and regular season benching into an undeniable contrast, and hashtags start to trend. Meanwhile, inside the building, veterans who once cheered on newcomers begin to glance sideways. The rookie practices with laser focus, while the depth chart reads like a confidence test the staff failed. This isn't just about a single roster move. It's about identity. Do you run your franchise like an institution that values control? Or do you bend the plan around elite talent when the moment calls for it? The risk of staying safe is obvious. You protect your comfort zone and lose the opportunity to shape a superstar's career. The reward of taking a little chaos is obvious too. You unlock growth, ticket sales, and the kind of national attention. Next game rolls around. Everyone will be watching not just for yards and touchdowns, but for what this team ultimately chooses to be: conservative and cautious, or brave enough to let greatness breathe. Want the timeline, the receipts, and the trade scenarios that follow? Stick around. This story is just warming up. The Browns' quarterback situation this season has felt less like a plan and more like a circus. One week, it's confidence and structure. The next, it's confusion and contradictions. The team started by naming a veteran like Joe Flacco the clear leader, but the constant shuffling behind him told a different story, one of hesitation and uncertainty. Depth chart updates, surprise signings, and cautious press conferences all painted the same picture: a franchise unsure how to balance experience with potential. And then came the rookie, Shedeur Sanders, calm, polished, and ready for the spotlight. From the moment he threw his first preseason pass, fans felt it. There was a spark, the kind that franchises build around. But instead of leaning into that energy, Cleveland tightened its grip on control. The coaching staff spoke about process and patience, phrases that sound noble until they start feeling like excuses. The longer they held back, the louder the noise outside became. Analysts questioned the logic. Fans filled timelines with highlight clips and frustration. It stopped being about numbers or schemes. It became about trust. Does this organization believe in its own draft pick? Or is it too afraid to admit what everyone else already sees? That's the question echoing across Cleveland right now, and it's only getting louder. Shadur Sanders isn't just another rookie. He's a walking headline, a brand, and a quarterback built for the modern era. From the moment he entered the league, everything about him screamed composure and confidence. The precision in his throws, the calm in collapsing pockets, and the leadership that comes from being raised in the Deion Sanders ecosystem, it's all there. He's not loud, he's magnetic. Every step, every snap feels calculated, like someone who's been groomed for this spotlight his entire life. But with that spotlight comes something most teams aren't ready for: pressure. The cameras follow him, the fans demand him, and the media never stops asking about him. For some coaches, that kind of attention feels like a threat, and that's where the tension begins. In an old-school system like Cleveland's, where discipline and structure come before personality, Shedeur represents a cultural shift, a new generation that blends swagger with precision. He's not trying to fit into the league's mold, he's trying to redefine it. That's why his presence alone shakes things up. His skill set isn't just physical, it's psychological. Teammates see how effortlessly he handles chaos, how natural he looks leading from the back, and they start believing. Fans see it too, and that belief becomes noise the team can't ignore. To the organization, he's still developing. To everyone else, he already looks ready. And that gap between perception and action, between what people see and what the Browns refuse to admit, is exactly why this story feels bigger than football. When Ryan Clark spoke up on live TV, he didn't just analyze football. He cracked open Cleveland's biggest secret. The moment he questioned how the Browns were handling Shadur Sanders, everything changed. Fans who had been quietly frustrated finally had a voice on national television. Clark said what the internet had been whispering for weeks, that Cleveland looked unprepared for the spotlight that came with a player like Shedeur. And when the clip went viral, it felt like a spark in a gas-filled room. Suddenly, timelines were flooded with highlights. Shedeur's perfect preseason throws side by side with the team's latest losses. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Fans demanded answers, analysts jumped in, and hashtags like #FreeShedeur began trending. Inside the organization, though, the tone was completely different. The coaching staff stuck to the same lines: development, patience, the process. But those words sounded emptier every time they were repeated. To the public, it wasn't patience. It was politics. It felt like the Browns were protecting egos, not talent. And while the team tried to stay quiet, Clark's take forced the conversation into the open. This wasn't just about a quarterback competition anymore. It was about control, and whether Cleveland had the courage to let a star actually shine. Inside the Browns' locker room, the tension feels almost electric. The kind you can't see, but everyone senses. Shadur Sanders walks in calm and collected. The kind of presence that, period, instantly changes the energy in a room. He's confident but not cocky, focused but fearless, and that combination makes certain people uncomfortable. For a coach like Kevin Stefanski, who runs a tight, methodical system built on structure and silence, a player like Shedeur represents disruption, the kind that challenges authority without even saying a word. Old-school coaches want obedience, not individuality. They want players who blend in, not ones who attract cameras and headlines by just existing. And yet, that's exactly what Shedeur does. His name trends before he even throws a pass. His interviews pull more views than team pressers. To some, that's leadership. To others, it's a distraction. But here's the truth. Leadership doesn't always look quiet and humble. Sometimes, it looks like confidence wrapped in calm. Exactly what Shedeur brings. Inside that locker room, some veterans see it too. They whisper about how smooth his passes look, how naturally he leads. Others, though, side-eye the attention, worried about the spotlight shifting too fast. It's a clash of eras, old-school discipline versus new-age charisma. And right in the middle is Stefanski, torn between protecting his system or embracing a player who might just outgrow it. Because once a rookie starts inspiring belief, not just in fans, but in teammates, control becomes a fragile illusion. And that's when quiet tension turns into a full-blown internal storm. If you really want to understand how Cleveland may be mishandling Shadur Sanders, just look at the receipts. Every decision tells a story, and none of them add up. After a preseason where Shedeur looked calm, efficient, and every bit like a future starter, the Browns still buried him on the depth chart. Instead of giving him meaningful reps, they doubled down on experience. bringing in veterans like Bailey Zapp, players whose ceilings are already visible. To fans, it felt like the team was protecting the system, not the future. Clips of Shedeur throwing darts in practice while others struggled in real games went viral for a reason. It wasn't hype, it was evidence. So when he kept getting passed over, the internet called it what it looked like, a mistake disguised as development. And the more the Browns explained, the less sense it made. You don't draft a polished quarterback just to hide him behind mediocrity. Reports suggest even some within the organization are starting to question the logic. Because talent like this doesn't wait, it migrates. And other teams are watching closely, ready to swoop if Cleveland keeps stalling. That's how great players slip away. Not through bad performances, but through indecision. If Shedeur eventually thrives somewhere else, the Browns will only have themselves to blame. The opportunity was right there. A young, marketable quarterback built. Across the league, teams are watching Cleveland's quarterback drama like hawks. Every coach, every general manager knows what's happening. A talented rookie is sitting on the bench while the Browns spin their wheels. And in the NFL, that's blood in the water. Rival teams see Shadur Sanders as more than a backup. They see a potential franchise cornerstone trapped behind hesitation. Trade rumors haven't turned official yet, but insiders are already connecting dots, speculating which team might make a move if Cleveland continues to stall. That's how it starts. Quiet inquiries, anonymous sources, and then one headline that changes everything. Meanwhile, the Browns front office is facing a clock that's ticking louder every week. The longer they delay, the more they risk losing not just games, but trust. From fans, from players, and from within their own locker room. Because once teammates start believing the organization, for the modern NFL, but instead of letting him lead, Cleveland hesitated. And hesitation in this league isn't safety, it's surrender. Doesn't value its best talent. Belief in the system crumbles. And that's something no coach can patch up with press conferences. Around the league, the narrative's already forming. Cleveland has a star, but refuses to see it. Other teams, they're waiting for the crack in the door, a chance to grab the player Cleveland won't unleash. If that day comes and Shedeur shines somewhere else, it won't just be a trade. It'll be a reckoning. A reminder that hesitation costs more than mistakes. It costs legacies. This whole saga isn't just about football. It's about what kind of organization Cleveland wants to be. The Browns aren't simply deciding who starts under center. They're deciding what they stand for. Do they value control more than creativity? Structure more than spark? Because Shadur Sanders represents more than a talented rookie quarterback. He represents a new kind of leadership, the kind built on confidence, composure, and connection. The kid doesn't flinch under lights. He thrives in them. Every throw, every interview, every camera pointed his way only adds to his calm. That's not arrogance, that's presence. And presence is what championship teams are built around. But Cleveland seems afraid of it. Instead of embracing the energy, they've spent weeks explaining it away, hiding behind phrases like development, competition, and process. What they call patience, fans call hesitation. What they see as discipline, analysts call fear. And that fear is starting to define them. Because in today's NFL, stars don't wait. They evolve, they adapt, and if you hold them back long enough, they move on. The league has seen this movie before. A team that plays it safe while another franchise takes the same risk and wins big. If the Browns don't act soon, they'll be remembered not for building a dynasty, but for letting one slip away. Every week that passes without a clear decision, the clock ticks louder. The fans know it. The players feel it. The entire league's watching. And when Shedeur finally steps onto that field, whether it's in brown and orange or another team's colors, the truth will be impossible to ignore. Cleveland didn't need to teach him how to be great. They just needed to trust that he already was. If they can't see it now, the rest of the NFL surely will.